So it's one of the more irritating things to be around. You can call it the narcissist, but if you really get close to these people, which they are everywhere, they're utterly unconscious. They can't take responsibility of all of the intrusion and boundary breaking and what they apparently seem to be living, which is in an alternate reality, which is like, wait a minute, the human ethic kind of goes with it all. It's not going to get the intricacies that goes beyond the obvious. And there's where it just remains something of a phenomenon of missing information. Just doesn't have the download. The brains aren't you can look at it as the brains aren't firing, right? Either. I mean, I'm a super sensitive empath to the point of paranormal, and what I mean is I wasn't trained, but I know it's there. That you can look into the neurology. Some people can look right into the electrical system of people and pick up on things. Uh, and it's like, well, thank God they find out that later that person who they are picking up on things about, they have a brain injury or something, or they were beaten severely, and there's something. But you don't have to wonder. I mean, this is where narcissism starts stepping in and masks itself. That's why most of the time you can't, you shouldn't take it personally because, um, like I said, it's an unconscious thing. It's just an animal that has moved around this injury, you know, and some are worse than others, and there's so many different varieties of injury that can come that can bring about a certain kind of masking of a personality that says, in fact, I'm perfectly intact here and don't blah blah blah. You know what I mean? And there's there is a reality of just a faction of people that, like I said, completely unconscious, and this is being passed down from generation to generation to generation. Um, it masks itself, so there's so many different masks. One of the more common is just um, education. Their education, professors, religious people, high positioned people. They are always wanting to get in a high position. It's a masking that goes on. It's perfect for the foundations of the intelligence, the think tanks that want to organize civilization in a precise way, that it's just ran upside down, topsy turvy in any old fucking way, really. Just make these fucking automatons do it, which are the narcissists who are only at a base foundation. Who they are is just looking for approval, and they need a supply of attention. That's it, and they want control through that too. That it would there's a variation that goes on, right? There's so many different flavors, but there's also just this. See, me as a super sensitive empath, I'm a musician, and I'm picking up on vibrational frequencies. And the question is always there. I mean, if you're a wise person on the earth, you already know you know that there's only two people to run into: people who live in their minds, and people who live in reality. They've conquered the mind, and they choose to be root their awareness in reality. And they look at all of these characters that are around who are just minds that they could think that they're more real than reality. Does that make sense to any of you? Because that's what's really going on, to boil it down and down and down, going general. The mind, if you don't know that it's there, which that's what we mean by unconscious. They don't even know that there is an illusion generator that gets right in the way of the truth in reality. Have you ever even heard this conversation before? There's truth rising and falling in reality. The mind can't contain a bit of it. It can't. Its job is to look into it and see. And remember, how do I remember how to do this? Really, it's just how do I remember? How do I remember? How do I remember to remember? Because you can't just keep hanging on to a memory because that's not it. We're talking about you can't hang on. Who? What? It's not the mind. Now what are we talking about? That is the purest awareness that you are, which is always now, that can observe the mind and see it coming up. And it can, it's misfirings, whatever. You can just notice the behavior that comes out of it, of course. I know for the last year and a half, me, and then especially since I got chemically imbalanced, I am just a hyperactive wreck when it comes to trying to communicate, and my mind and my temper and everything is just really short. And it's like, actually, this woman, all she needs is her guacamole. That's what all of you need. And you're trying to feel your body, your potential body, which is, you don't even know what that is. It's an electrical system that is hooked to the outside of the universe. You are one with it, and you need the right fuels to be able to conduct. It's not just all about getting slapped up against the head of all these fucking suggestions. You're supposed to stand up and say, "Excuse me, but I think there's something different. It's called now, and I'm gonna wait and see." I'm sorry if that sounds boring to the mind. The mind is like the mind just fell through itself. Oh God, you're a do nothing. Actually, there is no such thing as a do nothing. You know what I mean? Think about that. I mean, nothing is nothing, and doing is doing. Now, which one is containing more? The nothing does, and you know what? They have movies and all this stuff that they slide in, be afraid of the nothing. Here comes the nothing. Oh God, be afraid of it. What is it? It was just a big bunch of a fucking big dense bunch of shit. Talk about the fucking the movie Fantasia. Just getting now into it in case you watch movies, which is my pet peeve. But I'm trying to appease to a lot of you fucking low lives out there, and guess how fucking sick and tired we're getting of it. When we talk about low lives, babe, the mind that thinks it's more real than reality, the mind that thinks it's more real than me, the mind that thinks that doesn't see that, me, as far as me, whatever you think it is right now, this fucking screen, where's the noise coming from? Where's the noise coming from? Blah, blah, blah. You can just say, Channel 4 News, I need to watch that, and there's a game on at 6. That's more real than me. Which, none of that is real. None of it is. Oh, let's do a fact check on something that fucking on an information field that is not really real there at all. I mean, really. Practice breathing deep and looking at your immediate surroundings and figuring out, why do I need all these distractions from just this moment now? Think about it, because there is a huge movement to keep you away from the fact of your real life, which is you have no idea. You're only thinking about how that can be according to the mind, which is desolate. It has all it has, if you give it to itself, is just a fear of losing control and losing itself, because it was never there in the first place. Why? Because it's not reality. It's not. It has a job to shut the fuck up. It's not awareness. Awareness is reality. These are all just words. Awareness. Think about it. It's a war. Aware has the word war right in it for a reason, and the word are. You want to be R, or do you want to be, you want to be war, at war in the R? It's not a bad thing. I keep going back to, let's talk about your equilibrium. Nobody even fucking likes these things I talk about, but it's a serious subject matter that you need to consider as an adult. Oh yeah, it is a constant kind of awareness. It is a constant war. You're never done with that. You're going to keep going through these heavy duty, life-changing processes that are like, all it is doing is gutting out the mind that thinks it's solid as a thing in the mind. I'm having to deal with that. It's okay, so when you get older, the task is to let go of all of that mind accumulation shit, because it's not reality. And that's how you get old quick, is that you keep hold of it. And it's another distraction, period, because you know what? There's a system. There's a system that will put your mind in that track. And that's, we can see that. We can see it right now. That's what's collapsing. That's what's trying to hold itself together. And if you don't know how to like alter yourself into the existing system that is it's very liquid right now, if you notice. And you have to notice it. Just say, you know what, excuse me, that like in the Matrix, you just say, you don't have to think that way. That's what I begin this whole thing is you don't and to begin with, your attitude and what you think is not what I am and what the reality of it is. And if you really look at it in reality, you people aren't even being present with each other. Period. That's why I'm just laughing at it. It's like, okay, so I got to leave this country full of people who are just balled up in this insane asylum, and they're going like this, and they're talking to each other. Yeah, and you, and by the way, and you're just the meanest thing in the world. Haven't even fucking experienced us in real life, in real 3D life, how I really treat people when they come around. Come on, man. After a while, and you're gonna have to give it a while, you stupid fucking people. Narcissist? Don't even give it a while. They're in a vacuum. It's their fucking mind, if there ever was one, babes. And it's full of shit. Empty it out. None of it was fucking useful, because why? What is it? Well, it was a suggestion. It was a suggestion, babe. No way. No way. Start living. Really, it's the living dead, if you live in your mind. And that's what we're up against. Want to talk about the split? That's what I'm talking about. Mind or reality. Mind or reality. And you need, you don't know it, but you need traumatization. You need to fuck your mind up just to get away, to get here now. Like, bam! That's what clapping is. Clapping is a real therapy. Whenever you get on the stage, you clap your hands because we're clearing the air. Clear the air because this person has something for us. No? Oh, now there's a cage and there's bottles being thrown. And that's what happens at the Santana concerts in Tijuana. People forgot why they came there. They're like, they want to knock that shit down. It's narcissist versus the fucking empath, who's the artist. Usually they have a center and they're very balanced. And when it comes to music, if you notice in the past, it's always the musicians that just hold themselves, and there's a bar fight, and they just play tighter and tighter. They're very centered. To tell you the truth, a musician, if they really know what they were doing, if you know what you can do with that, you say this mantra, you just get into this mantra. Here they are blowtorching you, and you don't even fucking feel it. It's like, oh, mane, pame, hum, oh, mane, pame, oh. You're just singing. Even if your body roasts away, you and your awareness is still like, now you're the light of the universe. Oh, mane, pame, hum. What was that charcoal down there? I don't know, but this is interesting now, 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 now. There's something else. There's something else, babes, and a master can sometimes poke at it a little bit and give them a few cents, or at least a clean towel. They need a clean towel to sit down on.